Oh, I think they're doing a great job. A lot of them are.
Good afternoon, Dwayne. How are you?
Not too bad, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today with Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
If you're ready to talk, we're willing to listen.
Well, I really enjoy this program today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
May God bless every person.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome. Thanks so much for joining us, and honored to continue our partnership with the Cayman Arts Festival and to be able to give you a preview, just a sampling of what you will be able to avail yourselves of if you would just take up the invitation to come out to the many wonderful performances, including this evening. You want to see what we're talking about? Well, stay tuned for Talk Today.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today, the Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program. We ask our listeners to avoid statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use any indecent language or make any statement which is false or misleading. Email talktoday@candw.ky or call 1-800-534-8255.
Courtesy of Flow.
Cayman's #1 network that connects you to your world like never before.
Let your voice be heard. Once again, here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us. Honored to be able to welcome once again to the studio Mr. Glenn and Angle. And thank you, and to all your partners over the Cayman Arts Festival for allowing us to share with our listening public the amazing talent, not only to be showcased here, but to be invited to our shores to be able to say to our audience, listen, the world is great. Let's embrace it. So good afternoon, Mr. Glenn.
Good afternoon, Sterling Dwayne. Absolutely excited to be here. Thanks for inviting me, as well as these amazing musicians that we have in this room at the moment, which we're going to get to hear in a moment. But anyway, the Cayman Arts Festival kicks off tonight officially, and we have our first event, which is the Balana Sisters, whom I'm looking at, all set to play. They've just been so excited to be here. We're so excited to have them here. We're going to talk a little bit about, how they've, been invited to Cayman Arts Festival and the sort of work they've been doing here. We've also got the most amazing Rodney Marsala sitting opposite me. He's got 3 instruments in front of him. And so we just thought we would sort of spice things up a little bit here and talk today. And I'm really excited to be here to, hear this amazing show. So
thank you very much, man. I feel like, don't know how I could be even more excited if I was in a chocolate factory. After hours, giving a full run of the mill. I mean, because it's almost, for me, it's chilling and thrilling. I say this seriously. I love music. I don't think I could carry a tune if you put it in a wheelbarrow and told me to even more control it. But those with the gifting and the discipline, it motivates me to do other things, but it intrigues me. With great respect to our wonderful string sort of enthusiasts, Mr. Rodney, perhaps start with you first, since you're closer to the mic as we get into it. I personally, when I listen to music, I love to hear the piano, but I love the string instruments, no matter what it is. But there's something about the horns and the brass. Guide me. I don't wish it to be too improper, if at all. But any instrument, even if you're watching a military movie and the guy comes out and he's hitting the trumpet because particular thing has just happened in the scene and you know what it means, or it's the dark jazz sort of club and there is this seductive tone of the, Glenn's going, yeah, I've been there. It resonates within you. What is it about the horns, man? I mean, even the French horn, it doesn't look that great, but man, it's incredible.
It's a brilliant question. Actually, the trumpet, the horn, the brass, it was always used to announce that something was going to happen. Whether you were in a court or on a battlefield, when you hear a trumpet, look out. In Beethoven, Leonore Overture No. 3, a critical moment in the opera is when you hear trumpet sounding from a tower. So it's a signaling instrument, but then it also has the ability to play very lyrically and like you said, just very smooth jazz, and so it's got that ability to do both. But that's, I think, in our society, that's what the function that this piece of metal has served.
I was thinking on my way down that what it was that made Bill Clinton an effective president was his eloquence, his intellect, his charisma, his charm, his affable personality? I think no, it was the sax. I think that's what it was. And I said S-A-X, his sax, is what I think it was, right? Because that man, his first campaign, he's on some television show. Maybe I'm mistaken, but the first president, I think, doing that, and he's mixing with the audience as if he's in a jazz club. And he endeared himself to the audience. Right. Now, yes, he's probably a good musician, not as good as some. Yes, he said, I'm a bit rusty, but I want to set the stage for how amazing that instrument is. Yeah. And I think it's something about it, the call to action, but also the melodic sort of, come to me, let me soothe you, let me intrigue you, let me woo you, as it were.
That's true. It's very true.
Thanks for those lyrics, Susan. I was appreciative. With that in mind, though, like I said, I love the piano. I love just to hear the trumpet, the sax, and but strings, and I call it the fiddle, but the cello. There is something about them that, and I use the word deliberately, but hopefully people don't have the wrong connotation. It's seductive. It captures you, it draws you in, it makes you, just be at attention, and for, that next 90 seconds of constant play, or it's an hour and a half of a production, you just focus. If I can invite, ladies to share with us, props for us, the violin, the cello, the string instrument, for you, how... Good afternoon. Welcome.
Good afternoon.
Yeah,
it's great to be here.
And for those of us who are joining us, thank you for not just your collective presence, but your willingness to have our audience share as you take your craft and your instrument. What is it about it that makes you want to play the way you play? I watched a few of the videos and and I thought, man, amazing.
I don't know. I just can't live without it. I guess I grew up with music. We both, with my sister, and we have a younger brother, violinist. And we were always surrounded by music, not necessarily classical music, but it was rock and roll, it was rock music, it was Beatles, it was Chuck Berry, it was Janet Jackson, it was just all the great guys. And so we grew up with music, and then we went to music school. And then we picked our instruments, it was obviously many years ago, and we just couldn't live in any other way. It's like breathing, and music is just part of us. So, it's hard to explain because when you grow up with it, it seems like completely normal thing, but I guess...
It's life.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Living. If music be the food of love, play on, So I say just on it. But from that, then, as we look at what it is, that natural extension of who we are, that sort of innate being within us. For some, it is. Maybe it's listening to the music. We don't have the discipline. Perhaps we don't believe we have the talent. Certainly, I think it's probably lacking the discipline to be so willing to practice.
Yeah.
But for others, as a trained classical musician, you could easily jump into, Chuck Berry, using your strings as you can, a symphony.
Yeah.
Is there a difference in mindset when you play one versus the other?
What do you mean, like classical or
the latest genre of pop music?
No, I don't think there's a difference. I think it's all work ethic, discipline, and dedication. Sorry, my sister is a bit too far from microphone, but she agrees.
She was shaking her head.
She has to. I'm the oldest.
Oh, that's how it works, huh?
No, I'm joking. But no, I don't think there's difference. I think if you want to achieve something great or be good at anything, you need discipline, and it can be any genre of music, and it can be also sports or any other profession, or So,
Rodney.
Very true.
Discipline, dedication. The same skill sets that you would expect from the professional athlete, from that person who has said, who's been told by her physician, listen, I need you to work on this thing. To the student, the teacher said, listen, okay, you're good in math, but just spend a little more time. The same skill sets, the same ethos.
That's right. That's right. That's totally true. That's one of the reasons why we love working with students, because we don't expect them all to become musicians. And we've worked with thousands of students all over the world. And it's not so that they can learn how to play music necessarily. It's so that they can learn that discipline. Because I have a friend who's a lawyer, the law firm, they love...
Sorry to hear that. How friends they are too much.
I know, that doesn't really go together, does it? Friend, lawyer.
Really regret that, you know.
But the funny thing is that he was a fantastic French horn player when we were in college. He went to Curtis Institute of Music with me. Fabulous player. In the end, he decided to go into law. The law firm, they picked him over a lot of people because of that training in music.
Wow.
So could we ask then of you two things? Certainly, I'm excited, and I don't wish to impose. As Glenn shared, you know, you have a wonderful evening of concerts coming up over the next, is it a year and a half, I think, right? Just the next week and a half, right? Two things. Obviously, share with us as you wish in any which way, because we just want to be blessed by your instruments. But secondly, is it innate and is it too old? Can you learn the craft? Can you learn to play more than just how to hold the chords, how to play, but give it the rhythm and the melody and the feel? You know, does it become more than academic? We can talk about that and see where that leads us, because I want us to get my thoughts. Sorry, you can't read my mind. As a society, to be so inclined to music, as I think we were once with the kitchen dances and the like, that everybody had some instrument or the like in their homes, and there was some activity. Now, the music is for them, whatever that means to us, and it's not the go-to, the oxygen, the passion, the life that we see in some other households. Just a thought. All right. So here's the plan. When we come back, I won't sing. I won't endeavor to play an instrument, but I'm going to listen intently. So stay tuned for Talk Today.
CUC advises participants in the Green Iguana culling program to exercise extreme caution around the CUC's poles and power lines, especially when extracting iguanas from trees or branches that are in close proximity to poles and power lines. Participants should keep all objects such as poles, sticks, or hooks away from any CUC equipment to avoid any electrical contact. For further information, please contact our customer service team at 949-5200 or via email at service@cuc.ky.
Show your home some love this Valentine's Day with a big Valentine's appliance sale at Brand Source Home Gallery. Save up to 30% on top brands like Samsung, LG, Beko, GE, Fisher & Paykel, and Frigidaire. Hurry now because these savings are only good this week, the 10th through the 15th. You will love the savings and the look of your fresh new appliances. Save up to 30% on appliances this week only at Brand Source Home Gallery in Industrial Park on Dorsey Drive. Call 623-5000 for more information.
Radio Cayman News live in-depth team coverage.
A 7.7 magnitude earthquake has occurred.
Fast.
Radio Command's Carsley Fuller was one of the first to call in. I could hear my neighbors across the street saying, "Whoa, that was a big one."
Accurate.
Radio Command's Shanda Gallegos covering the story for us,
advising there is only a very low risk of a tsunami following this afternoon's earthquake.
If it's happening now, you're hearing it now.
We have had the all clear from the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center. However, there will be aftershocks.
We've had a very dramatic afternoon, and I know that for a lot of people this has been very frightening.
It does not appear that anyone has been hurt and that we have been spared the worst what could have been a truly devastating ordeal.
Radio Cayman News, your news as it happens.
Dominion Life Global Ministries invites you to their first anniversary prophetic convention. Theme, I Must Recover. February 13th through the 16th at the Georgetown Town Hall, featuring Apostle Joseph Jogona, Thursday and Friday, 7 until 9:30, and Sunday, 1 until 3:30, with an elegant Valentine's soiree on Saturday the 15th. If you need more information on the convention or to purchase tickets to the soiree, call 326-0744. The Dominion Life Global Ministries first anniversary convention, February 13th through the 16th at the Georgetown Town Hall.
Would you like free roses this Valentine's Day? Buy a gift that can be cherished forever from Island Jewelers. And the roses are on us today. That's right. We'll buy the roses. Spend $350 US at any Island Jewelers and receive half dozen red roses from Celebrations for free. Island Jewelers is located in the Island Plaza under Margaritaville, Camana Bay, the airport, Kimpton Seafire, and Ritz-Carlton. Show her you love her today, forever, and always with Island Jewelers.
Marianne Radmacher once said, "As we work to create light for others, we naturally light our own way."
Calling all SIXA members.
The Cayman Islands Civil Service Association annual general meeting for the Sister Islands is Thursday, February 20th in Cayman Brac at the District Administration Building in Stake Bay in the conference room located on the second floor starting at 12:15 p.m. A light lunch will be provided.
Come out and vote for your two BRAC representatives who will serve on the 2020 Management Council. Hear the President give his annual report, ask your questions, share your ideas, and make suggestions. You can also email your questions in advance of the meeting to cicsa@gov.ky. There will also be a door prize raffle of a Cayman Airways voucher, and the first 35 persons to sign in at the meeting will get a free gift.
Members, please make every effort to attend this very important CICSA annual general meeting for the Sister Islands on the BRAC Thursday, February 20th at the District Administration Building in Stake Bay in the conference room located on the second floor starting at 12:15 p.m.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back. Thank you so much. And yes, I am enjoying myself because I get a chance to be encouraged, to be motivated, and to be truly intrigued by the great talent that we have globally and to be able sometimes to share it within our shores as part of the Cayman Arts Festival. Mr. Glenn and Angus, thank you again for coming along. Now, for those who are joining us, perhaps I should ask you, to again introduce.
Yes, I will introduce who we've got in the studio. We've got the amazing Rodney Marsalis. He's got 3 trumpets in his possession in this particular room. He's come with the Philadelphia Big Brass Group. They're going to do amazing work with our students. They're going to perform a concert on Saturday. But to kick off the festival tonight, we've got the Christine and Margarita Baladas and their phenomenal violin-cello duo. And the chemistry and vivacity in their playing is just absolutely spellbinding. So I thought it would be a great idea to get a little sample from, I don't know who wants to go first. Rodney, you could go first if you wanted to.
Sure.
And I just...
So leave the best for last, what are you saying?
That's right. We can go first. No, because he's got the 3, he's got his fingers ready to go. Yeah. So he was just going to give us a little sample of, what the... And educate me as well, of course.
Sure.
About
this
the
is a piece
between
that it's Elvis, but it's Elvis as if it were written during the Baroque era.
Ah.
So we do it during our show. Maybe I should I'll stand over here.
Okay, and the instrument he's playing, as you can see, Rodney has assembled himself in a wonderful 2-piece blue. Please, Mr. Marsalis. I think that's probably one of Elvis's pieces that everybody recognizes, huh?
Yes, and so appropriate for tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
It's a combination of styles. We talked about that. Different genres. They can be together. All different genres can be together. Music's just music. That's kind of what our concert's all about.
And the beautiful thing of human history, I mean, for me, the Baroque era, when it comes to architecture, I don't like it. The little I know, but other things that happened in that period, and music, even much better. But you can take, just as you combine, I mean, Elvis, probably the greatest ever, and a piece like that is so familiar to all of us. And yet, hearing it in that tone, you would think, wow, that is, I like what you said, amazing. I was waiting for the Spider-Man to come in, but in that respect. All right. Now, with that, and I saw what I thought was so so almost organic. The willingness to come in and bring the instruments to join, how the two can easily blend. You know, we see the piano and the guitar in many pieces. There you go.
No, I heard you speaking a little bit.
I know.
I was like, what?
I was like, I don't understand. I wanted to enjoy it.
Exactly. Because musicians can, rarely get a chance to enjoy the performances because they're the performer. Now to sit here and see the masters at work, this is what makes it for me that much great. I listen a few times in watching Glenn, whether he's just turning the pages for the student musician or whether he's accompanying. Glenn, that, for a parent in particular, that is encouraging because it gives you a chance to realize what you could become with the discipline, with the dedication.
That's correct. And these girls, I know how hard they have worked to get as good as they are. It's just phenomenal. And again, like I said, the chemistry with which they play, the way they communicate is something that was picked up in the class that they did for the students yesterday, which Miss Fran McConvey actually commented on, saying, see, this is what I keep telling you to do. Look at each other and communicate when you're playing. So that's so obvious when they play, and it's just very infectious. So
there you go.
And I think they've got something for us.
Well, please, share with us as you wish. So...
I will be performing Per una cabeza by Carlos Gardel. With my sister. I forgot about me. I said we. So you said I. No, we.
I thought you were saying French, Bibi.
It's a joke.
Oui. Such energy, such emotion, and I'm asking as a novice. I've never seen sort of words to classical music, and a little bit like a millimeter of a millimeter that I understand of how to write notes because you're forced to take a music class. So when I look at it, but for some reason I can, as I listen, hear words. And I wonder if it's because I'm just kind of weird, but I can hear words coming from the songs. Is that normal, or do I need to go to my doctor?
Maybe because you're crazy.
Thanks for diagnosis. It's a lot cheaper.
Joking. No, I think in music, a lot of times you have to internalize your own emotions, feelings, things you've experienced, what you want to share. You as a person, and you could mechanically also play the notes and not connect with it. And there's a lot of musicians around, and I sometimes do it, when you're super tired and you're like, I don't want to give all of myself all the time, but obviously you try every single time. But yeah, it is. I think you're not crazy. You can hear,
No,
can hear
absolutely.
the music, coming through, flowing through you as a person as well.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's so true. And actually, I played one of Leonard Bernstein's last concerts, and we were rehearsing. We were playing Copland's Third Symphony, and the orchestra wasn't getting it the way he wanted it. And he used words to get the orchestra to understand the phrasing. And there's a spot where they were supposed to be da 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 dum dee da dum da. So he said, no, you have to think, I love the way my baby walks. I love the way my baby talks. So and once we were all thinking that, it sounds completely different.
Yeah.
Wow.
Nice.
You know what? I
Sorry
don't
about
feel
the
so.
singing.
No. Well, listen. As bad as you think you sound 1,000 times better than I ever would. So, no, you sounded great, man. And who said that? People who play instruments can't sing. Sorry. No, but the reason why, and thank you for sharing that, because I've said this a couple times to the public, only because I want us to have a sense of music appreciation, to look at the architecture, aesthetic, to see things more than from what they are, and not just the material, not just the monetizing, but to appreciate it for what it is. Again, sitting here watching you play, all three of you, but just the last performance, the energy, the emotion, the communication, the expectation almost. Yeah, you're in the studio, tonight is going to be a zillion times better, but you're not giving any less of yourselves. And this is not an acoustically, great musical chamber, but yet the sound is phenomenal, Glenn.
That's the thing that really gets to me. Both, Rodney and the girls, when they played, this is a speech studio. It's as dry as anything, But you
hey, jeez, what?
it's meant to be dry, so you can hear what people are saying. So, but it's not
invite Glenn again.
Okay. And the interesting thing is how you created those overtones, those wonderful reverb feeling of the fact that you're actually in this reverberant kind of, acoustic.
Yeah, what he said.
It's really special, really, to hear that, the way you make the horn sing, the way you make your instrument sing. It's very interesting for me because many people have always said it's so important to think of yourself, if you're a performer of a particular instrument, as a musician first and an instrumentalist second. So in a sense, you are sort of articulating your musical values and your feelings through your instrument, and that's what people connect with. And that's really, for me, which is so special when you're just sitting here, you're giving us a little clip, and you're thinking, oh my goodness, that sounds like someone singing so naturally. And the same thing when they were playing as well. So, and again, I trust me, I know how hard it is to do. When I've been to speech studios and played music, it's like, oh my goodness, this is hard, It's not doing anything to help your sound, but it doesn't matter to them. They're just making it happen.
But I think it's the passion and again, the emotion, but the love for the performance, the love for the instrument. My perception, the desire to invite the public, not only to listen, but pick up an instrument, embrace music is what I'm sensing. And this is, I think, where I would like us as a nation to come, so that on the street corner, there's a little park and people are jamming, not for money, but because it's festive. Where you go, there's a Christmas carol because it's December, or it's something happening in April and there's music. Music soothes the soul. It's the call to action. It's the celebration or something. Running from that, if I may ask, of the instruments you play. Is there one that you, not just is your favorite, but is so special that if you could take it to bed and put it on your pillow and just quote it? Because we all have something. If we play football, we have 5 footballs in our home. There's one that we like. Is that for you?
That's that's a good question. Actually, for me, it's probably this one. It's probably the flugelhorn. Somehow, because I have a daughter and she's 3 years old. And whenever I play something that's melodic or gentle, I think of her, and that's what I'm thinking about, really. And I'm thinking about putting her to bed and putting her to sleep. And the flugelhorn, that's kind of like I can. It's not a really loud instrument. You can play it. I can play it for her, and she doesn't hurt ears. And
I think. And again, I'll be guided by you. Not that I probably changed my opinion, but I think Bill Joel is probably one of the greatest singer-songwriters ever. And I love almost everything he has composed. And his latest, the last album he did Lullaby. Good night, my angel, now it's time. And when I first heard it, sorry, Glenn, I didn't mean to make you upset. Should have cut that out. That was me singing. It wasn't, we don't have a blackboard with the cat being harmed. No cats were harmed in the film of that song. Before I knew the song, and I realized, wait, this is someone singing potential for a child, and it drew me. Even I wasn't married, I didn't have any children. Later on in life, others have said, "Oh, it's a funeral song." But it's that thing. It's that thing that resonates within you. So you're flugelhorn because of the connection to...
Yeah, and you actually forget about the instrument. Right. You forget you're even holding... One of the great violinists talked about that, about how when she was playing, she forgot about the instrument in her hand, and it was just as if it was just whatever she had to say coming out.
Right. If I can, and anytime I ask or say if it's just guide me, but I believe that there's soul, there is life in even the inanimate. That's what I believe. It can talk to you, can speak to you in a certain way. I look at your instruments; they're obviously special. Do they of themselves, how do I say this, come to life? You bring it to life, but do they bring with them a certain energy? I'm mindful that I don't make people think, okay, yeah, he definitely needs to go back. But sometimes there's a way a thing speaks to you, the way you connect to it. And it's special. You cater it, you nourish it. You look at friends who have boats, and that is their thing. You don't do anything and everything, because it's not because the boat is necessarily expensive. It's because they have a particular pride in it, and they polish it, and they're like...
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel the violin is moody, and also my sister's cello, especially with the weather changes, or it doesn't sound good, or sometimes, it sounds good, but sometimes it just has bad days, because it's raining too much, it's too humid or something. But then sometimes I mention another violin, or I'm like, oh, I think, maybe I should, change or switch. And then I swear it sounds better. I know it sounds crazy, but I've done that before. I was like, well, it doesn't respond on this string or something. I need to change, or maybe try another violin. And the moment I think it or say it, it sounds even better, No, maybe I'm crazy.
Well, so probably I have company. Okay.
Yes.
No, but you share that because I've heard that once from a good friend, and I think we need to be in tune with the energy and the senses.
And it's almost 300 years old. So many people have played it and left their energy or their character, and also when you play an instrument, I tried my friend's violins for an hour or something, and I give it back and they say it sounds different, because you kind of open different levels of vibrations or something. I don't know what it is, but every person I think has their own aura or something. True. It's interesting.
And I think that's the beautiful part of being able to listen to live music. Even if you're not necessarily, you don't like that genre, that's not your thing, just go. And especially, I guess for me, who I honestly, I wish I could play, but listening to people play string instruments, the cello in particular, and to be seated there and to watch it, you're drawn to it. I mean, I am. Now, Christina Margarita, as Glenn said, Christina and Margarita. I can't say the way Glenn says it, and Rodney Marseilles. Tomorrow is Valentine's. I was just reminded of that, so. Yeah. So, Glenn, you got to get me something.
Nice.
Could we, some requests from some of our listeners, invite you to play as you wish, but anything that you want to play. I mean, we could be that Broken Valentine. I mean, this could be something melancholic. I mean, I just leave it to you. Or what would you play separately or together to be reflective of the love sonnets, of the, and I love this. You see the collaboration?
They
no words are being said, but so much is being conveyed. So love me tender, love me. All right. So, Glenn, as they decide and discuss tonight, right?
Tonight, yes. So I'll just say a few words. Tonight is going to be amazing. We kick off tonight at Agape Church. You can get tickets at the door if you want. You can also go to CaymanArtsFestival.com and get tickets online. But the interesting thing is we have this event happening. Starts at 7 o'clock. We're very thankful to RBC Wealth Management, Dominion Securities for coming on board and trusting us in inviting the Banana Sisters to come, and they've actually sponsored their visit here to Cayman. And in the same vein, on Saturday evening, when we hear the fantastic Philadelphia Big Brass read by Rodney Marsalis, and Butterfield have very, very kindly, they've been with us since 2004, since we started, just like Walkers. And they're basically the ones who have brought you here. And the wonderful thing for many of these corporate sponsors is the fact that they want to see how it impacts the kids that you get to work with, which is why these workshops are invaluable for the students. So I just wanted to get that out there, that we're very, very, very thankful for their support. Trust me, it's just amazing to see the music come to life. And you were talking about access and stuff being on the street corner, and I'll just share with you how I came to meet Margarita and Christine. So basically, just as you just said, they were sharing their music on the street just outside Covent Garden Tube Station, and my wife and I were walking around, and trust me, we couldn't stop, but stop in our tracks and just listen to what they were doing. There's a little crowd around them, and I just thought, this is incredible, absolutely incredible. They're playing, they're basically busking, but it was more than just busking to me. I was like, no, there's something more to this. So I said to my wife, I reckon there's students at one of the colleges somewhere here in London, and I said, I'm going to stop till they've got a break, and I'm going to go along and ask them. And of course, I walked up to them. This was 7 years ago, guys, and literally, I said to Christine, so are you studying somewhere? And she said, oh yeah, we're students at the Royal Academy of Music. And I thought, bingo, there we go. And right there, the seed was planted in my mind, because at the end of the day, I could see the chemistry they played with, and the way they communicated, and the way their sort of their personalities would fit very well with what the Cayman Arts Festival sort of stands for. So, cut the long story short, which I'll tell a little bit longer at the concert tonight.
There's more?
There is more. It didn't end there, because trust me, that was just a little drop in the ocean. And if you come tonight, I'll tell you more of the story. But the idea really is that's how I got to hear them, and they are phenomenal. Creating access to their instruments and to their playing and their talents. They really go out to the general public and share. It doesn't matter what the forum is, they will play, and it's just so infectious to listen to.
Very. And this is what music can do for people, and it can bring you together. You speak a language, no matter whether you can communicate in your native tongue. The instruments can talk, like a good football match. Hey, you watch it. Well, I like football. All right, so we've decided on a song. I think
they're playing tonight, so they're gonna do something.
Okay.
We'll
so you translate for me?
We'll try. This is just our experiment on radio live.
Oh, hey, things happen here sometimes that
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right, so Christine and Margarita Baninas.
It's for Valentine's Day.
Fantastic.
Totally improvised on the spot, people. That's literally amazing.
Wow.
But I think that speaks to not just the gifting and not just the talent, but I think, if I can say, that passion for music, for inviting people to share. For those of us who have, musicians, I'll be careful because I don't want to be offend in the sensitivities, but let's say Christmas, there's festivities, and one or two may have enjoyed a little bit, enjoy themselves a bit, and there's a guitar, piano, there's something, they'll assemble, and before you know it, there's a jam session. And in today's era, where you can capture it and you play it back, there's a lot of laughter, and some of the notes weren't hit. But the fun of what was, and that's what music brings into the community, into the household. And I think tonight we'll see it, tomorrow, Saturday we'll see it. Each performance we'll get a chance to sort of, be sort of ensnared by the instrument. Right, Mr. Martels?
That's our goal.
That's the goal, man. Well, we have a headline news at 1 coming up. We'll take that in a bit. When we come back, can we play some more? Would you be willing to share from, your repertoire and other instruments?
I'll play maybe a little bit of the thing that we're going to play at the end of the concert. It's a New Orleans style.
That'd be so cool.
Yeah, I could do just a little bit of that.
Okay, all right, we can do that. And certainly don't want to impose on you and overextend, ourselves to you, but invite you to share again as you wish, talk as much about it, perhaps in our conversation, specifically to parents and to potential benefactors. Invest in this, and this is the reason. It's not as tangible as maybe erecting a building, but it's even more lasting than the building that may have a 50 or 100-year lifespan, because this resonates in a society. Could we talk about that? All right. And then as we're considering, perhaps, Mr. Rodney, from your perspective, looking at music and looking at the student who is either A, considering it as a potential career, B, it's an exam, it's a subject in school, another grade, to satisfy the parent particularly. How do you get that child, one, to embrace I call it the passion of the music, and for us as the administrators, the parents, the people to say, listen, okay, it's not about the grade, man, it's about the enjoyment.
First of all, there's listening. Exposing them to music, exposing them to concerts like they're going to hear tonight, or the workshops, that sort of thing. Because I think for a lot of us, for me it was my cousin. My cousins went in Marcellus, and he was the first time I ever heard a trumpet play. And I was at his recital, and I was like, oh my God. and so that experience. So that's the great thing about what you guys are doing here, is you're creating that experience for all these students. And that's really, because you never know who's really going to end up playing an instrument, but when you create what you guys have done, you're planting the seeds all over the place. We just don't know what's going to grow.
Can I ask then, and again, carefully, not to offend anybody, and the reason why I say that is that there's a perception. Glenn and I, we've had this conversation with certain things. You might like cheese, and people will say, oh, and they give you that look because you want to taste different cheeses or even chocolates. But with music, for some of us, we turn our noses up and we dress a certain way to go to a certain space. Hey, it's music, and just like you turn the radio on. From the perspective, then, jump right in here.
Sorry, I just wanted to share, to go to a concert in Latvia, where we come from, it's an event, and it's an event for everybody, and it's affordable to go to a classical music concert, and it's completely normal, and people discuss more classical music, I think, there than in other places. Also in Israel, when we go, it's kind of completely normal to be in a classical music world. I think also in the UK or other countries, they could be this kind of perception, because education is different there, the system. In Latvia, it was government funded, so it's available for more people. And in London, my siblings were very lucky. We have a younger brother, violinist, and my sister, they went to London very early. They were in their early teens, they were like 14, 15 years old. So they went into private school, which was basically either, you pay for the whole fees, which were insane. That's the most expensive private school in the UK, or they got scholarships and they were like 95% covered, and it was a boarding school. So they were lucky to experience that, this education, which in Latvia is free, actually. If you're good enough and if you practice, obviously. And in Latvia, we all practice a lot because, there's no other way. You can't do things halfway because you basically won't survive. You have to have a job, or you're not in a comfortable space. Because Latvia is quite poor country still. I mean, we're recovering, and there's so many great things, so many great musicians come out actually from our little place where it's less than 2 million people now. But I would say that I think this attitude comes from places where music is not available to everybody. It's only available to those who can afford it. I think it's education.
If I had given them a script, you couldn't say it much better. Thank you for sharing that. Because that's what it is, right? All in and all access. All right, after our news break, talk, share, play as you wish. And thank you so much for blessing us with this, because this is very, very motivating, very encouraging. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
It's only 2 species that we have here on the island.
Generations present.
Your voice, your choice. For today's biggest news.
Access.
Local, regional, international. This is headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom team.
Today's biggest news.
Cayman Arts Festival string students at John Gray High School took part in a special masterclass with visiting performers Christine and Margarita Balanas. The violin and cello players wowed the crowd with a series of pieces before having the students join them as one string ensemble. Cayman Arts Festival is hosting a concert with the Balanas this evening at the Agape Family Worship Center at 7 p.m. Good afternoon, I'm Dion Anglin with your headlines and news elsewhere. Coronavirus cases are not rising dramatically outside China despite a spike in Hubei province, the World Health Organization says. The only exception was on a cruise liner docked in Japan, where 44 new cases were reported, bringing the total there to 218. There was also no major shift in the coronavirus's pattern of mortality or severity, and that's according to the WHO. And Democratic presidential candidate Mike Bloomberg is paying social media influencers to back him in the hope of reaching younger voters. His campaign has commissioned some of the internet's top viral creators to generate content about him that has researched tens of millions of followers. The former New York mayor's campaign director said its meme strategy was new to presidential politics. That's a wrap of your headlines. I'm Dion Anglin.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman for the latest in news and information.
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
Show your home some love this Valentine's Day with a big Valentine's appliance sale at Brand Source Home Gallery. Save up to 30% on top brands like Samsung, LG, Vaco, GE, Fisher & Paykel, and Frigidaire. Hurry now because these savings are only good this week, the 10th through the 15th. You will love the savings and the look of your fresh new appliances. Save up to 30% on appliances this week only at Brand Source Home Gallery in Industrial Park on Dorsey Drive. Call 623-5000 for more information.
Red Sky at Night. Terrific live music, actors, dancers, comedians, and poets. Over 100 artists and artisans selling art, crafts, jewelry, and accessories, as well as delicious local food. Red Sky at Night at the Hawkwheel Cultural Theatre. Saturday, February 29th, 4 p.m. till midnight. Don't miss out. Tickets on sale now at eventpro.ky. A CNCF production. Red Sky at Night, sponsored by Hurley's Media, Pepsi, and Radio Cayman.
Dominion Life Global Ministries invites you to their first anniversary prophetic convention. Theme, I Must Recover. February 13th through the 16th at the Georgetown Town Hall, featuring Apostle Joseph Jogona, Thursday and Friday, 7 until 9:30, and Sunday, 1 until 3:30, with an elegant Valentine's soiree on Saturday the 15th. If you need more information on the convention or to purchase tickets to the soiree, call 326-0744. The Dominion Life Global Ministries first anniversary convention, February 13th through the 16th at the Georgetown Town Hall.
Would you like free roses this Valentine's Day? Buy a gift that can be cherished forever from Island Jewelers. And the roses are on us today. That's right. We'll buy the roses. Spend $350 US at any Island Jewelers and receive half dozen red roses from Celebrations for free. Island Jewelers is located in the Island Plaza under Margaritaville, Camana Bay, the airport, Kimpton Seafire, and Ritz-Carlton. Show her you love her today, forever, and always with Island Jewelers.
But I do have some questions.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program. Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us, and it truly is a distinct pleasure to be able to continue our partnership with the Cayman Arts Festival, Mr. Glenn and Angle. It is hopefully something that all of us as a community, in particular our parents who help to drive and to nurture, would invest, not just paying for the music lessons, not just ferrying our children back and forth, but to be able to inculcate within our communities this true desire for the arts, so that music is that thing that can unify us, it can soothe us, it can energize us, but equally, it can make us on a sort of sense of equal footing. Because as we're assembled, maybe it's church, or waiting, it could be we can be in that space and be encouraged and nurtured.
So I think music should be for everyone. I mean, literally, for every child growing up should be given exposure to music as as a central part of their education. Just so we can think of math and English, or math and language, depending on whatever country you're coming from. I really think just watching the impact music has on children growing up. So, and I know this is not abnormal, but I think many kids learn to sing before they speak. I mean,
yes. My sister did. Margarita actually was singing age 2 and she couldn't even speak, and she was on stage already because our dad exposed us to music. He was singing rock and roll and all these things. So I mean, yes,
it's true.
It's very
and this is my point. Yeah. So children who are not given that opportunity to be around music in that way, can you imagine what a disadvantage they might be at if their development and the fact they've not been given access to this particular central thing, I think. So yes, I think here in Cayman, I think that's something we need to talk about. We need to sit there and address it and bring it right back to the center. These kids can communicate in so many different ways. They learn so many different things when they're playing in ensembles, and so many different skills that transfer to so many other different things in their lives. And I always say that people who are involved in music in this particular way learn things like discipline, they learn about teamwork, they learn about so many things, about commitment, about, not giving up too easily. These are things that transfer to so many other things that help them excel in so many other different ways. So I always say to people, if you don't believe it, try it. Expose that kid to it. They don't have, as you said, they don't have to turn out to be performers at the end of the day. They just need to be exposed to it, and it actually impacts their performance in so many other walks of life.
Yeah, but it adds value to their lives too. That's
another point.
Yeah, we don't see it. Maybe it's because we don't know how to quantify it and measure it in that sense. But the value that it brings to you, the enjoyment.
Actually, it has been measured in Latvia. I can give you an example.
Please do, yes.
A very, very good friend of mine, her father started this. He continued and developed a music school in a smaller city called Maduan. Nobody knows here probably. And but he made the research. He basically made sure that in his music school he remembers every student, and he remembers all the names, and he has like. A list. And so he checked after 40 years.
Wow.
Because he followed every single student and everybody. He said there was nobody unemployed. And there was nobody ever in jail. Or like...
No, it's true.
It's
absolutely
for,
true.
Yes. And I think music also teaches you to solve things... in a human way, or not as you said, not give up too easily, or if you play chamber music, not gonna start a fight or an argument or something because something doesn't work out, which in other fields, you could be doing. Obviously, when you work in a musical group, but you have to find ways for things to work, without the language, without speaking, just listening to the other person, forced to listen to the other person, otherwise you're not together. In musical sense, but a lot of times people don't listen in real life, or it's, as you said, it teaches a lot of more things than you can actually think about when you grow up with music. That's what I think.
And art in general, I think we take it for granted a little bit. Yes. Art and the way it exists in our culture, in our society. That beautiful laptop that a lot of us have by Apple. Well, that's because he studied calligraphy, but that led to him developing that design. He was so it's everywhere, and I almost wonder if you almost want there'd be like 1 week where we were having zero music, not on our cell phones, not on like where we took all of it away, and see what that week would be like, how it would feel for everyone. I think then people would notice, they'd understand how it's something that's it's all over the place in our society.
It's amazing you say that. I don't think I get in trouble with my friend. We were talking about the arts, and I like quiet time. For me, it's important. It's probably because I have the headsets on all the time. So I like quiet time. He likes music. He has to have music on, doesn't matter what. Mm-hmm. So we were having a conversation, and for 1 hour, 60 minutes on his, timer, he didn't have any music playing on his music player or anything. He was the most miserable. and so he did it again some weeks later just to say, well, maybe it was even worse because he was expecting it, right? So we said, you can't go without music for an hour. Oh, we want to bet? And he couldn't. He needed. So it is oxygen, right? All right. Well, Mr. Rodney, you were promising us to play a little piece.
Oh, right, yeah. Well, there's a thing that we do when we, it's actually the first piece that I was ever taught.
Oh, wow.
And there's no music involved. And we were at Tanglewood Music Center with the brass group. They were featuring us there with Ellis Marcellus and Delphio Marcellus. We don't play together that often, but, and it was really funny because at the end of the concert, Delphio, who was the one who taught me this piece, he said, let's do second line. And I was like, and it's just two simple chords. But it starts off with sort of a call for everyone to come together. Yeah. Like, so that happens. You play the call, then the audience or your group goes, yeah. And then it happens again, and they go, yeah. And then then you play these two chords. So it's really small in here, so I don't want to.
Kind of James Brown.
Yeah. I'll sound it off. Maybe play down.
All right, man. But this is what music can do for you, man. Thanks.
Yeah.
But isn't that the beautiful thing that what music can do, right? It can bring us in. I do apologize to our listeners. I forgot that you were there and the phone lines were open. We have a caller online. It's either a complaint or a compliment. Which one? Just kidding. No, just kidding.
This is my wife. Sorry, I forgot to put the laundry.
I think it's probably my wife. She's thinking, okay, now behave yourself. All right, so headsets, we can hear. And as we go to our phones, say thank you very, very much for joining, for listening, and being a part of today. As we go to our phones, good afternoon and welcome. You're on Talk Today.
Hello.
Hi, good afternoon.
How are you doing?
Hey, listen, if you could see me now, you would be amazed.
I can hear you, though.
Oh, man. How are you, sir?
I'm fine, and good afternoon to the other guys with you on the show as well.
Hey. Okay, and I'd like to give you some good afternoon.
Right. Quite interesting show you're having today about music. For music in the Cayman Islands, shall I say something classical music. I remember years ago when I was in the Merchant Marines, I used to go into Holland and Italy. But Holland, I remember, they had some music instrumental music that used to blow our minds, man. I mean, it was so soothing, so relaxing. And here in the island, I'm kind of disappointed that we don't have more of that kind of music that you would get, years ago in the island, especially things that came from Holland and all that, the classical music. I think there's a big market for here in the Cayman Islands for that. And somebody has to make a start and make a finish. So I would hope and assume that something like that would be forthcoming before too long, guys. So, quite interesting. And I just want to commend you guys and hopefully we're going to be successful. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Hey, thank you very much, sir. You know, and this is the appreciation I think that we have for music in general, but the optimism the caller shared, you know, through his travels as a seafarer, far and near to the appreciation that it could be an original piece that just composed, you know, this morning, to a classical piece that has been played for centuries. Mm-hmm. We all can relate to it. You know, taking a classical interpretation of a rock and roll icon to otherwise. What do you think? I mean, music is really is music really that thing that can inspire, or is it that thing that can cause us to be what is your?
I mean, for me, music is my life. So I'm also biased with that, but I would say that it definitely changed my life, and it has changed also my friends' lives, you know, also who come from poor background in Latvia and who worked as hard as they could, and they made their way either in Latvia, you know, working in top orchestras, or they are in, you know, not just as musicians, but I think you turn to music, and music always saves you, you know, if you have a bad moment in life or if you're upset or all kinds of emotions. I think music, as you said, can soothe you. Music can really give you also that kind of pleasure, understanding, you know, if you want to hear something very complicated. You know, it's like reading a novel or something, you know, you don't know what's going to happen next, or it just kind of can put you on a journey, I think. And there's so much music can do. I mean, try to watch any movie without music. Try to watch any horror film without music, and you'll not be scared. You know? And it's everywhere, you know. People don't actually notice that, and how music affects you emotionally, and how it can create fear. It can, like, you know, there was even a task, I think my brother told me, at school where they studied at the Purcell School in London, where they were composing 4 different, like, there's the same scene of a man walking down the road, and they added 4 types of different music. So one music sounds romantic, and he's like, oh yeah, he's probably going on a date or something, you know, tomorrow's Valentine's. And then second was like really scary, or, you know, this was kind of different type of music, which looked, he's about to kill somebody probably. And then another one was like, you know, you compose something really funny and looks like, oh yeah, he's just gonna tell a joke, or he's gonna drop something, or there's, you know, some, you know, so music can really change the atmosphere in the room or in a movie or anywhere where people, you know, you go in a shopping mall and, you know, there's other types of music which is like pumping, you know, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna buy this, I'm gonna buy that, you know, it's like affects you, you know. If they put like melancholic things, you wouldn't want to go buy things, or, you know, it's also manipulative very much emotionally, I think.
Music, man.
It's the thing.
Yeah, and there's different, and that's why in our concerts, why we played so many different genres, because there's such variety in life, and any, even among populations, like, you know, to sort of address the gentleman caller. Yeah, there should be lots of different styles of music. There should be. If there's a style that's not happening, yeah, it should be, because we're not in this isolated world anymore. We have people from all here on the Caymans. I noticed you have people from all over the world here.
Yes.
You know, so why not reflect that in the music that happens here? It makes perfect sense.
You know, he actually made a very good point about classical music, and I just wanted to add to that slightly. It's very fascinating because for the many years I've lived here, you know, I came here as a concert pianist. But the interesting thing is, you know, one thing I found was, you know, I had to be very versatile. So people would say, hey, you know, I want to learn this song. Can you accompany me? And I'd say, where's the sheet music? No, there's no sheet music. You have to learn it by ear. So you go to YouTube and you're trying to work out all the chords, etc. So it was wonderful development for me to have been through that experience. But the one thing I really try to get across to the students is the importance of something like a genre like classical music. It really puts you through your paces to develop the skill and the all-roundedness you require to express other genres. And this is one thing that many students are only now beginning to appreciate. And because many people say, oh, classical music is not for me. And I said, no, you haven't really sat down and listened to it. Some of my students came to their very first piano recital when Martin Roscoe was down here in October, and they'd never been to a concert. They said, I wouldn't normally choose to go. But I kind of bribed them and they came along. And it was amazing. And they sat down and I got them to write reports afterwards. And the things they had to say, you know, it just almost brought tears to my eyes, because I realized it's just the fact that it's just not been exposed to the power of, or the transformative power of the actual genre. So I think we need to do a lot more work here in Cayman in making it accessible. That's kind of what keeps us busy here as musicians. Give them that exposure and get them, in a sense, skilled to be able to play so many different things. So we've got our string program, for example. Many people remember that Cayman has a heritage, has got fiddle playing as a key thing, the kitchen bands, for example.
Oh, wow.
And you need to have the skill to play, and so it's so exciting to see all these kids with their violins now, developing the skills in a group sort of kind of setting, and these are Caymanian kids, and they will, in a sense, hopefully they can do whatever they want with the skill. They can play Michael Jackson, they can play hip hop, whatever they want. But the point is they've got the skill, and if they perhaps want to put it to sort of kitchen music, they can do it,
That's right.
because you've got the skill, and it's about expressing yourself in whichever way comes naturally to you. So I'm really glad the call brought up that point about, kids and people being exposed more to classical music.
Right. So my question earlier then, that when we look, when we look at music, and we look at potentially the unwillingness to have the discipline to learn to read the notes, are we at the risk of people just playing without really appreciating how to compose, how to read the notes, and how to, like classical education, how to be put through the paces, and then B, by not having that introduction to classical concerts. I created Radio Cayman in my formative years. There were evenings that they have classical music on.
Yep, and still.
Now,
Sunday.
I don't know what was being played. It sounded completely different from anything else that I would be listening to, but I loved it.
Yeah.
Now, I credit my parents, I say this publicly, for not making me feel weird, for encouraging me, for saying, no, that's on for only a few minutes, leave it on, because then there was no TV. I just
Inside joke.
But you got to listen to it, and they allowed that, right? Now, I say that to say that that's where we need to get, so we have that, this talent,
Yeah, and sometimes in societies we have, like my cousin Wynton Marcellus, earlier in life, at one point, I remember there was an interview that he did, and they asked him, why did you go into classical music? Because he's from New Orleans. New Orleans, we have a lot of jazz in the streets there, in the area. And he said, I just want to see what was on the other side of the mountain.
Wow. I like it.
So, and the thing that I think about is that mountain. What is that mountain? It's like something saying there's something over there that's not for you. Well, he was curious, and I want to go see what it is. And he said, I went over there, and I just found some more music.
I love it, man. I love it. Well, we thoroughly enjoy this opportunity this afternoon without, any greater position than we may have had. Certainly, if you wish to share maybe a final piece with us, we'd be honored if you wish, to whatever extent, It's just, for me, being able to listen. I know there's a parent out there thinking, you know what, that $100 for every lesson or whatever it is, it's worth it. And this is why it's worth it, So this piece is something I composed earlier, as I tell you about it. All right, so the Cayman Arts Festival. This evening at the Gape Family Worship Center, 7 p.m. You get to hear Christine and Margarita Balinas, all the way from, Latvia. Wow. By way of West Bay.
We will play some Vivaldi Summer, as it's hot here.
It's amazing. I now recognize why I wasn't good at string instruments. I don't have to hit movement. That's what it is. All along, I wasn't sure. No, but thank you. And even though I would not have been able to say that's Vivaldi, yet I recognize that I've heard that before. Now, and maybe in closing, back to what we're talking about, access and the notion that the perception. I guess it's cultural, depending on where we are. But for some reason, we refuse to engage in a classical concert, to even listen to it, to even acknowledge that we play it. Because I've done that publicly, and people go, "Well, who do you think you are? Some fancy Nancy?" No, I could say the same thing. You listen to Calypso. What's wrong with you? But we like it. So as I asked you to think of that, let's go to the phones and maybe welcome this other caller. Hey, thank you very much for sharing with us. A very pleasant good afternoon. Hello, good afternoon. How are you today?
Am I on the air?
Yes. Thank you so much for calling.
Hello, Sterling Dwayne and your panel. This is the first time that I've ever called in to talk today.
Wow. Well, thank you for that. Oh, wow. We should get you a prize.
And the reason I should get a prize, yes. The reason I called in is because that piece that was just played, Summer, that made me so happy. I just had to express that to the musicians on your
keyboard. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. I mean, we weren't sure we should bring them in or not. Just kidding. No. No, thank you. That means so much to us. And thank you for sharing. Anything else you want to share with us, though? Because, I mean, don't stop now. Don't stop the party.
Well, I concur with the caller that was last on that classical music is so important. And all genres of music, as your panelists have said. But I just love the classical music because it can evoke so many different emotions in one, and it really helps our brains to grow.
Is that why my waistline is growing? Okay.
I didn't say your waistline.
I just teasing. No, I'm so grateful that you would take time to share that, because that's important. I think that's what we were trying to capture today, and to celebrate, but to hopefully pass along to others,
Yes, and my daughter, she's 7, and she's just started studying the violin, and I was thinking, wow.
Bring her tonight,
Will she ever grow to that point? I'm excited to think of the possibilities. Mm-hmm. But just thank you and Cayman Arts Festival for promoting music in Cayman, because it's such a wonderful thing.
Well, thank you for sharing. And please accept the invite to come along this evening, 7 p.m. at Agape.
Bring your daughter.
Yeah.
Please.
Thanks very much.
Bye-bye.
Have a wonderful, safe afternoon. But as that caller was sharing, I mean, that's why I think we embrace music, why we, perhaps take our children, specifically, as the mother was sharing, to lessons. We unfortunately, as some societies have unfortunately adopted, see it as this extra thing. Thankfully, there are still communities and whole countries that see it as oxygen.
Yes.
And if it wasn't for that oxygen, would we live? And if we were alive, would we be as alive?
Yeah.
Because it is, it's something about it. I mean, I know for me what it does. All right. Mr. Glenn?
I just wanted to say to everyone out there, again, thanks to the people who've called in. There's something magical about live music. I mean, it's great to stay at home and listen to different things, but, just hearing the live musicians or people who perform live music this in the studio today, just reminds me of how exciting it is, how exciting the moment can be. You don't know what's coming next, and it's for the musician and for the person listening as well. It's something really, really special, and that's why we always encourage people to go out and sort of listen to a live concert. You will be amazed by the effect it has on you. So tonight, the Cayman Arts Festival kicks off at 7 p.m. at the Agape Family Center. Is that correct?
The Agape Family Worship Center
I don't want to get it wrong.
Fairbanks Road, 7 p.m.
Excellent.
Not far from Radio Cayman. Just kidding. Close to the boxing gym.
And I want to thank Radio Cayman for giving us the opportunity to come and share these wonderful musicians with the rest of the people listening to the show today. And thank you, Sterling, Dwayne. Thank you, Susan. Thank you, Paul, the whole team here. And thanks to Radio Cayman for being there from day one. I keep saying this, from back in 2004. They're the only station here that plays classical music like this, live classical music like this. So thank you.
Yeah, Radio Cayman has been guilty of many things. Allowing me on the studio for one, but all right, we started out with you, Mr. Rodney Promps. We'll close off with Christina Margarita. But final thoughts from you in relation to whatever you wish. I mean, this is your opportunity.
Well, actually, when we play our concert, we also started on the streets of New Orleans with our group. Yeah. And the special thing about being on the street is it's not like when you're in a concert hall where there's a separation between you and the audience. When you're on the street, people can walk up to you and look at your music and see what you're doing. And so when we play our concert, that's the feeling we want to have. And so we just want to invite everyone to come and and feel like we're out in the street in New Orleans playing for you, and it's we're there to share with everyone.
All right, so that's started the evening at the
That's a Saturday evening, yes. And CaymanArtsFestival.com is the website if you want to go and take a look at more of the events or get tickets, for example. So
right, and I think as Glenn has shared, what better way to sort of kick off, formally and officially this season, 7 p.m. tonight at Agape. You guys have been amazing. I think just listening as a non-musician, but I watch your eyes and your body language, and you were almost like me in the chocolate factory. It was amazing. I will invite you to share, and if you want Margarita to say anything at all, please, only if you wish. But you're appointed senior spokesman. She's eloquent, she's gifted. So, what would you like to say to us? Not only about this evening, but just music in general, socio-economic, political discussions. I don't know.
Music will speak for itself. Yes.
And it does.
Yes, and we hope to see as many of you as possible tonight.
All right. Yes. Well, thanks very much. Enjoy your stay with us. Hopefully, we'll make it not only safe but welcoming. You'll return not just to perform, but to be a part of the fabric and to enjoy what we have to offer. Each of you. It's a beautiful place. There's some nice people. I'm probably the worst you're going to meet, so it gets better from here. All right. All right. To our listeners, we'll pause and take a short break. When we come back, there's some open line, and we invite you to call and share your thoughts. We'll remind you, Cayman Arts Festival this evening kicks off 7 o'clock at Agape. We'll tell you how to get the tickets. They're accessible. They're not expensive, but man, is the performance is exceptional. So stay tuned for Talk Today.
The 2020 Cayman Arts Festival is here. This year's event launches with Latvian artists Christine and Margarita Belanis, critically acclaimed soloists in the vanguard of classical music with mesmerizing stage presence. Thursday, February 13th, 7 p.m. at the Agape Family Worship Center. Tickets are $40 for adults and $15 for students. Tickets are available at www.caymanartsfestival.com. For more information, call 922-5550 or email inquiries at caymanartsfestival.com. Event sponsored by RBC Dominion Securities and RBC Private Banking.
The Lions Club of Grand Cayman will be holding a prostate and colon cancer awareness meeting at the John Gray Memorial United Church Hall in West Bay on Tuesday, February 18th at 7:30 p.m. Free PSA testing will be available along with a presentation by guest speaker Dr. Shillingford. PSA testing will be done by Royal Medical and Wellness Center. For more information on prostate and colon cancer awareness, join the Lions Club of Grand Cayman on Tuesday, February 18th at 7:30 p.m. at the John Gray Memorial United Church Hall in West Bay.
Radio Cayman News live in-depth team coverage.
A 7.7 magnitude earthquake has occurred.
Fast.
Radio Command's Carsley Fuller was one of the first to call in.
I could hear my neighbors across the street saying, "Whoa, that was a big one."
Accurate.
Radio Command's Shanda Gallegos covering the story for us,
advising there is only a very low risk of a tsunami following this afternoon's earthquake.
If it's happening now, you're hearing it now.
We have had the all clear from the Pacific Tsunami Warning Centre. However, there will be aftershocks.
We've had a very dramatic afternoon, and I know that for a lot of people this has been very frightening.
It does not appear that anyone has been hurt and that we have been spared the worst what could have been a truly devastating ordeal.
Radio Cayman News, your news as it happens.
Release tension.
Improve sleep.
Ease muscle pain.
Reduce stress and relax with customized massages at RVC Physiotherapy and Chiropractic Services. RVC now has a full-time massage therapist, and for February only, you can experience the magic of a massage for just $99. Upgrade your massage for therapeutic release in specific areas. So do your body a favor or gift someone a massage for Valentine's Day. Just $99 this February only. At RVC, located on the 3rd floor of the Tomlinson Building at the corner of Hospital and Walkers Road. Call RVC at 925-6024 for details. Did you know that ValueMed Pharmacy has a free online prescription service? Managing your health and medical requirements has never been easier with ValueMed. Simply visit value-medpharmacy.com. That's VALU-medpharmacy.com and click the Refill Prescriptions tab on our website. Fill in the information for new prescriptions or refills and choose your preferred pickup location. ValueMed on Walkers Road or Town. Then bring in your original prescription from your doctor when picking up. There's no need to stand in line and wait for your prescription. Save time and pick up prescriptions at your convenience by visiting value-medpharmacy.com. That's VALU-medpharmacy.com.
Your favorite family fun day is back. The 53rd Annual Agriculture Show at the Stacey Watler Agricultural Pavilion in Lower Valley. Theme, Agriculture for the Future. Ash Wednesday, February 26th. Family fun for everyone. Acrobatic show, cooking competitions, produce, plants, pony rides, petting zoo, rodeo, and so much more. Gates open at 7 a.m. with ample parking. General admission is only $10. Children ages 2 through 11, $5. And under 2 are free. Or buy your raffle ticket including entrance fee for a chance to win $20,000 and so much more. For more information, visit them on Facebook or 345agriculture@gmail.com. Put down your iPad and get back to your roots at the 53rd Annual Agricultural Show, February 26th in Lower Valley.
Get ready for the King Sports Center one-day Valentine's sale.
Let's go.
2-for-1 membership and personal training. It's not too late to get that New Year's resolution started. And what better way than with your partner? Whether it's your hubby, your bestie, or your buddy, the Valentine's sale is for you. 2 memberships for only $750 and 2 personal training sessions for the price of 1. King Sports Center one-day sale, February 14th. For more information on their variety of services, call their friendly staff today at 946-5464 or email kings@candw.ky, or you can visit kingsportscenter.com. King Sports Center, your one-stop shop for fitness, recreation, and relaxation.
Yeah.
Would you like free roses this Valentine's Day? Buy a gift that can be cherished forever from Island Jewelers. And the roses are on us today. That's right. We'll buy the roses. Spend $350 US at any Island Jewelers and receive half dozen red roses from Celebrations for free. Island Jewelers is located in the Island Plaza under Margaritaville, Camana Bay, the airport, Kimpton Seafire, and Ritz-Carlton. Show her you love her today, forever, and always with Island Jewelers.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me. But equally, thank you so much for allowing me here the opportunity to sit, facilitate, to enjoy, and to be reminded that the things that we have in this country, the access that we have, the reasons we get up in the mornings and go to work, the reasons we serve in our communities through our churches, our service clubs, our PTAs, because we want to continue to make this place as wonderful as it is, and to be able to welcome to our shores, whether it's a sporting event or whether it's a musical concert. And as Miss Susan reminds me, it's just sometimes welcoming the people for a well-needed evening of rest and relaxation, to be able to, rejuvenate because of their otherwise hectic lives. So, thanks again, and hopefully we'll realize that each of us are ambassadors, or we are in the hospitality sector, or we are, without question, sort of called to be your brother's keeper, to extend not just a smile, but a genuine, warm invitation to be of service. So, with that in mind, let's have some open line, 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. Perhaps on behalf of the Cayman Arts Festival, again, an invitation. Maybe start the season off. It's a Thursday. Go and let your mind unwind as it is. Let your heart sort of feel that passion to be rekindled in your spirit, an appreciation for life, and how the Balinas sisters sort of soothe your soul through music as they play, I think a great gifting of talent. And you can see the sibling love, you can see the true desire to present music in a way that is accessible to all of us. And whether you understand and know and are already acquainted with the musicians throughout the centuries who've composed and whose music has been performed, but whether it's the first time, well, appreciate it. Again, a reminder of what is available on these shows and what come to us through different venues. So 7 p.m. at the Agape Family Worship Center, Cayman Arts Festival. All right, it's open line, 949-8037, 949-8037. Or toll free with the compliments of Flo, 1-800-534-8255. You can WhatsApp 925-3261. And as you are thinking of what to share, you can decide, do we want to talk politics? Well, that's fine. You may say, no, I need to look at this thing from a different perspective. It may be an environmental, concern. And that environmental concern may be not just because of the pace of development. Your view maybe it's not fast enough. I mean, why are we saving trees? I mean, can't, eat them. Let's develop it more. But you may be saying, wait a minute, have we stopped and recognized that the earthquake the other day, I don't wish to alarm anyone. I don't want you to be concerned. But after the earthquake, and you may say, well, look at these sinkholes. You may be concerned of what is happening. Do you think that there's something that can and should be done? Is there something that perhaps you as an individual could be doing? I'll give you as an example. Two individuals, they have called me friend. I think they're being very kind. They've said, listen, they have been considering as they, would go running and sometimes exercising and exploring, to maybe stop and take a very, very, deliberate view of the surrounding landscape. The paths that they're on, thankfully, they're still well beaten and they seem to be very safe. And they're wondering, should there, now again, please don't be overly alarmed. You may think it's a very foolish suggestion, so you can blame me for it. If you think it's a great, suggestion, well, I give them the credit. But they say, should we, whether it's under the auspices of the National Trust or the Department of Environment or whomever, do we go out into the, on sort of developed areas and very carefully look to see if there are any sinkholes? Do we somehow, if there's a mechanism scientifically that we can assess it, to look at the very populated areas to see are there any perhaps things even under the surface, or the sinkholes that we know of, are there any risk of them becoming even, worse? Now, again, like you said, you might think, oh, that's foolishness, right? But when we're looking at, here's a sinkhole in a road, a public road. Thankfully, the public has been very responsive, been very cautious in navigating those areas. The NRA and the requisite authorities have placed the cones and have cordoned them off. Now, how do we fix it? When do we fix it? And in that manner of fixing it, is that fixed so that it won't cave away again? Now, again, not to alarm, not to cause you to become, fearful, but for those who may have had the unfortunate experience of seeing these things unfold, sometimes at beaches, sometimes in areas that are prone to, more frequent earthquakes and the like, have shared with us. These can be issues that occur ways down the road, if you put it that way. But what is your thought? 949-8037. Toll free with the kind compliments of Flow at 1-800-534-8255. Or you can WhatsApp 925-3261. Again, I'm very grateful not only to Mr. Glenn and Morris and all those that came out of festivals for their sponsors and the partners who come on board for the amazing talent that they brought to the shores, but for our listeners who appreciate that through music, and in this case, classical music, it may introduce some of us, it may invite some of us for whom ordinarily we wouldn't have the opportunity, not just because it's not something that is readily available, but it's not something that we would even make time. That we know as a populace, we have another sort of option on our menu. And tomorrow is Valentine's. I won't call myself a hopeless romantic by any means, but in the sense of agape love, maybe with your family, you get to see another family, two wonderfully gifted, talented sisters perform on amazing instruments, not just the centuries-old violin as it were, but the notion that they are performing wonderful music, and as a family you go into a setting like the Agave Church and you listen in a spirit of love and appreciation. Maybe something that you would probably consider not doing, but in the spirit of it being in a setting at Agape, in the spirit of it being on the eve of Valentine's and embracing the semblance of love, maybe you'll go with your family. Hopefully that's something that is in your budget. Hopefully it's something that you can carve time. I do recognize that for some of us, we would love to. We could probably afford. But we have other commitments and we're probably unable to. So sometimes we miss it. And I only share that to say that how many times there have been things that happen here, musicians, even under the auspices of the Cayman Arts Festival, who come here and you could have gone because it was affordable and you had the time, but you didn't. And then now, well, it's probably a lot more expensive to get to a venue where these musicians now will be performing. Well, will this be one of those occasions? 8949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. Appreciate Miss Susan always sitting there willing to not only answer the phones and direct the production, but making sure it all happens. And I can't promise you always that my conduct and behavior makes it any easier for her, because I may be shifting and moving in the seat, I may be talking a little bit fast, a little bit quiet, but she does it so wonderfully well, and I'm glad. So we invite you to call and share your thoughts. 949-8037. Now, I was looking at some things earlier in preparation for today's production. You probably see it in the media. Those of you may have, because of your involvement in the financial services sector, may have sort of gotten wind of it. It may have come through your association, through your particular organization and the like. Your employment access probably gives you a heads up. How the Cayman Islands are now being sort of listed, some say they are mistreated by the European Union. And some of you shared, well, it's about time this country sort of rallies behind and stands up. Stop being, beaten constantly. And if there's going to be a fight, well, let's get in the ring and all dukes up and say, hey, you guys gotta recognize that every time you say and ask, we comply. And every time we comply, you keep moving the goalposts. And no matter what we do as a jurisdiction, it's never enough, never good enough. Now, is that how it is? And if so, what should be our response as a government, as a jurisdiction? Do we say, okay, well, we can do this? Or do we say, wait a minute, you're being unfair to us. This isn't really how it is. This is the picture you're painting internationally, and it's untrue. So we now need to challenge. Is that a challenge through the courts by way of judicial review and otherwise? Is it a challenge in the media? Is it something that through the concerted cooperative effort of the sector with the government, we set about on a very deliberate and directed strategy to ensure that those who may choose to, in your perspective, malign or somehow make less the invaluable sort of reputation of our jurisdiction, that we're not going to take it, and simply because it's not a justified approach. Now, my friends who still work in the sector would share that when it comes, comparatively speaking, to any of the other jurisdictions, no matter where they're located in Europe or otherwise, that the Cayman Islands rank head and shoulder in terms of compliance, in terms of the excellent customer service, the amazing, impeccable professionalism that's available here, the standards that we set. In many cases, we're leaders, as it were. But again, as some have shared, it would seem that the approach of some of the, other governing countries who seem to dictate the way the world would turn, or would want it to turn, that Cayman and Cayman's role isn't one that they want to welcome, nor even value, nor respect. Now, if that is the case, how do we, when we see ourselves sometimes as this little, and I believe we say so in a very, less than respectful tone, this little speck on the map? Well, is that speck on the map so, important to world finance that it should have, as its mandate, a very concerted effort to protect and promote its reputation, to be able to perhaps more easily and more immediately access the world stage, to defend its reputation, to champion its regulations, and to very publicly demonstrate that as a jurisdiction, it is not only one that is highly reputable, but one that far exceeds many of the other jurisdictions for whom, if we were to listen to them, that they would be, as a friend said it, beyond reproach, when really and truly we're far above even what they may see as high standards. Well, what is your view? 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255, or WhatsApp 925-3261. Now, I think sometimes, and I share this with you, I think sometimes that some of us who, may not be employed in the financial services sector question, well, if that's happening over there, I work over here, and that doesn't affect me. Just like some of us who do not work in the hospitality sector, if it doesn't affect us, we don't think it affects us. But I wonder, if we were to look at it, do we see that even though we're not directly employed in the hospitality sector, that we are ambassadors, as it were, the people who come to our shores and asking for direction? Perhaps if we were working in one area and we see them, the way we greet and meet them, the way we interact with them, whether they're a first-time visitor or they've been coming here because their grandparents introduced them as, very, very young. Are we employed, quote unquote, in the hospitality sector? And likewise, we're not, employed in the financial services sector, so does it matter? Well, perhaps it does. Your view, 949-80, 37, or 1-800-534-8255. And we want you to share your thoughts with us as we go to our phones. Hey, good afternoon and welcome. You're on Talk Today.
Good afternoon, Mr. Dwayne.
Good afternoon, my friend. How are you today, man?
I'm doing good, man. I have half a chocolate left for you.
Hey, listen, half is better than none, right?
Yeah, I'll bring it back for you later tonight.
Thank you for sharing it, man. I mean, if it was me, I can't promise you that I would have any left for you.
That's where I ate the first half.
No, did you eat the bigger half?
No, I left it for you, man.
Always a pleasure to listen to you, man. Good afternoon again.
Good afternoon to you, sir. I just want to say 2 words about housing, for the housing situation in the island.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure now in your travels, but likewise with your listeners, you've noticed that a lot of the building that's going on
Mm-hmm.
is primarily apartments.
Mm-hmm.
And it's for the upper income persons. Nothing wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
But someone is going to have to come and service those buildings whose income would be considerably less than the people that they're working for. What about the housing for them?
Mm-hmm.
What about the housing for the lower income Caymanians,
Mm-hmm.
the service workers on the island? I mean, it's a good business with a person just adding a little room here and there and getting some extra income. But what is government doing about addressing the housing issue, especially for the lower income persons on the island?
Mm-hmm.
I know that there's a thing about, they have several housing programs, or they've had. The thing is that they're only building houses versus apartments, because the Caymanian dream is to have their own house.
Mm-hmm.
Caymanian millionaires live in condos.
Uh-huh.
So someone who's making $6 an hour, they can't live in a condo as well.
Is it then that there's a perception?
Sorry. The single family house is the most expensive way of providing housing for lower income people. The two just don't go together.
So what do we do then? Because I wrote down to ask you about planning and development. So what do we do?
Well, you can offer those persons with the means some incentives to start providing some lower or housing for the lower income persons.
Mm-hmm. Do we need to look at, and maybe this may be the incorrect way to phrase it, but the densities that are allowed in certain areas? So I have a piece of land this size, and if I were to go to planning, they would say, well, it's zoned this way, so this is all you can build. And you may say, well, wait a minute, if I draw it this way and build it this way, I can build this. Instead of one house with 2 bedrooms, I can build 2 dwelling units,
Right. Okay. Take for example, in what we call the low density residential areas,
yes, sir.
zones, that you get 3 houses per acre,
Mm-hmm.
but you can do 15 apartments with 24 bedrooms.
Makes sense, right?
Yes. I mean, if you had an acre of land, which would you build?
I'm inclined, if you don't mind, I want to engage you further if you have time. We have the news break. Would you be so amenable to hang on a second? If you need us to, to reverse the call, then we can. To engage you further, would you be willing to stay on? Do you have time on your hands?
No, I could call you back probably, but maybe.
Oh, okay.
Maybe 10, 15 minutes. But,
okay, see, I missed that. All right. My apologies, but please do, if you can, because it's important, I think, what you have to share. All right?
Okay.
All right. Thank you, sir. Thank you. And I don't want to say that because I want my chocolate, but I just, no, the caller is making an excellent point. And maybe we can talk about, is there a difference between affordable housing and low-cost housing? Is it terminology? Is it actually perception and the like? Let's go to the news break. When we come back, more talk today.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
It's only 2 species that we have, on the island.
Generations present.
Your voice, your choice. For today's biggest news.
Access.
Local, regional, international, this is headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom team.
Today's biggest news.
7 of Cayman's cultural practitioners and preservationists will be honored for their contribution to the country's arts and cultural legacy at the Cayman National Cultural Foundation's 26th Annual National Arts and Culture Awards. It all takes place on Thursday, February 20th. Anne Laurel Walton, Conroy Ebanks, Deborah Barnes-Tabora, George Jones, Isaac Gerolo Rankin, Philip Smith, and Ray Banker will be recognized for their talent and expertise in the areas of culinary arts, fine arts, music, net and thatch making, and historic preservation. Good afternoon. Once again, I'm Dion Anglin with your headlines and news elsewhere. Police are investigating a spate of letter bomb attacks on companies across the Netherlands. 4 letter bombs have been found in the past 2 days. The head office of ING Bank in Amsterdam was the latest place to be targeted today. And a doctor who took his own life in Chicago left a note suggesting he had become averse to vaccinations and may have falsified records. The doctor, Van Coynes, may have left children unvaccinated, the Cook County Sheriff's Office said. Van Coynes expressed regret for his actions, but his note was ambiguous. That's a wrap of your headlines. I'm Dion Anglin.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman for the latest in news and information.
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
Would you like free roses this Valentine's Day? Buy a gift that can be cherished forever from Island Jewelers. And the roses are on us today. That's right. We'll buy the roses. Spend $350 US at any Island Jewelers and receive half dozen red roses from Celebrations for free. Island Jewelers is located in the Island Plaza under Margaritaville, Camana Bay, the airport, Kimpton Seafire, and Ritz-Carlton. Show her you love her today, forever, and always with Island Jewelers.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back. It is Open Line as we invite you to call and share your thoughts. 949-8037 or toll free with the compliments of Flo, 1-800-534-8255. Hey, good afternoon. You're on Talk Today.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon, ma'am. How are you today?
Oh, not too bad. I just turned the radio on. All I heard was planning and low density.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. That caller had so much more to contribute, and I feel so bad, but hopefully we'll get him.
Yeah. Sterling, we have a lot of construction going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know who we're billing for, because the average Caymanian can't seem to get to own a piece of property or build a little 2x2 on it if they have a piece of property.
Mm-hmm.
Sterling, if you go up on South Church Street, there's a bunch of condos going on if we get to right up by Seaview.
Mm-hmm.
Sterling, those condos are being built. And if you go and take a good look at those condos and what is being done on them right now, they look like they are practically going to be into the road when they take that barring down from around the front of those buildings that they are building up there.
Oh, you mean those really ugly ones on the road, though?
They're right on the right-hand side going up to Sunset House.
Yeah. They're really.
There's something close to it. I don't know if it's a home or apartments or what. And there, what you can call, I can look in your window, and you can look in mine. I can look in yours.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sterling, we got some buildings down on 7 Miles, stretch across from the 7 Miles Shopping Center. They're being built now like these box apartments or box duplex or what. I don't know what they really call. Sterling, I don't think that they got 50 feet. If I know what 50 feet is, apart from each other. The roof can practically touch just each other, and many more throughout the whole island. Sterling, we got a lot of contractors on the road driving these little big trucks and carrying blocks, cement, sand, gravel, material like steel, facial boards, and many other types of boards. And they got them tied on, and they're hanging from the top to out of the back of the truck with this rope or whatever they got it tied with. Sterling, I don't know who is in charge of our law, but that is so dangerous to be driving through any one of our streets with these little low bed trucks carrying all this material to their job site. And Sterling, one day they're going to drop off and they're going to hurt someone. I just saw in Florida where a piece of steel went through a gentleman's windshield in his truck from someone else's vehicle. Sterling, I don't know what they're thinking here when it comes to we people and how to protect us. Are these little big trucks that carry all this material to their jobs because then the companies can't deliver when they want them at that present time? The police needs to go out there and monitor these trucks and give them tickets and get this material to the jobs in a better format before they hurt someone. I don't want to hear one day that somebody 2x2 went through somebody's windshield or a piece of steel went through somebody's windshield here in the Cayman Islands. I know it has happened some years ago, I believe, but today the way things are going, it's a shame. Everybody that's doing their own thing, and where is the law? Where is the law, Sterling? And Sterling talking about low density. When planning can tell my daughter that my property is sitting on a piece of low density, that it can't be divided, but if she would like, she can put a 30 feet on by joining it onto my house, by bringing a surveyor, and she must have a plan of what she got to build in the back of my property. Sterling, I got a very good sized piece of property. I went to a friend called Billows home 22 years ago. It was just a 2-bedroom and a humongous piece of property. So I think that planning need to come out and see the different cuts from 22 years ago to today. What Frank Hall is cutting the property into, and now they're making the properties a lot smaller. When we bought it 22 years ago, it was a pretty good sized piece of property. I got a lot of property there that can be built onto. And Sterling, Cayman is full of low density. Sterling, can you imagine you go to the bank and take 25 to 30 years on a mortgage, and planning I come and tell you how to build on your property? Now you want to tell me what is that what you call paying taxes? Because you don't pay taxes on your house. Planning I hit you through, you telling you that you got to bring a surveyor out. You got to have a plan for what you're going to build before you can get approved, and so forth and so forth. Is that what you call taxes to the person who has the piece of property in the bank for 22 years? And you pay your mortgage and you can't add nothing in your yard unless planning I tell you how to do it? Sterling, where is the law for the people of this land? Where are we heading? Where are our young children heading? Our young children is losing the courage and the faith every day, and the children gonna come up in the same environment, losing faith and courage because the mother couldn't get nothing, the father couldn't get nothing, so they gonna get nothing too. And they gotta talk about need assessment. That is just there for who want to be there for. Sterling, I don't know where we're going, who we're building for, but this construction is going on in Cayman right now. I hope I live to hear that 100 local Caymanians, born Caymanians, was able to buy one of these apartments that they got sold for sale on this island. My daughter went to the bank twice, and they made a jackass of her, telling her to come or they can help her when she get into the different ball game. Give up her apartment, stop paying rent for a while, did all of that, still wasn't qualified. What they want from you, Sterling, what they want. I asked the government to look into the future of children, to send them to school, to get an education, to come out here to be a good citizen. And when they come out here, they feel like they have no voice. They feel lifeless, no encouragement. They just feel like they're a bunch of failures. You want to see it? Walk into the schoolyard some days. That's what you want to do. Walk into the schoolyard some days, Sterling. Sterling, the low density. They got to start using that against the poor little average man who wants to build something and leave them alone, let them build something, because then they got these people that can come and build and sell for $1.5 million. And I want to know, Sterling, where the people coming from to put in these places. You go through the whole Georgetown and eastern north side, something is being built. Where are the people coming from and where are the Caymanians going? Sterling?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for listening to me.
Well, thank you for sharing. Thank you very much indeed. And let's go to our phones. Good afternoon, you're on Talk Today.
Hello, sir. Good afternoon. Rambo, man.
Hey, Rambo, how's it going, man?
Well, right here, man. Like, all day, Valentine's to me. Right? Tomorrow is spectacular. Yeah? Every day, all day. And also, listen, imagine now, 2 weeks, right, after the Brexit, right? And the EU, they replace it now. Come 2021, right? 15 months before your British passport expires, you're not allowed in the remaining 26 US. EU. Yeah, the countries, you don't allow that now. Right? No, strictly get them. So, I know in the field, obviously, right? I'm allowed to do that. Yeah. good money, it's good currency, right? And imagine from 2018, we want to be a list, we complain everything, right? How can it hurt us? OECD, beneficial ownership around the corner, everything. So, and the whole aspect was done in the EU, right? They illustrating like a real economic activity, right? If not, they put sanctions. Simple, right? And Johnson now, he goes to a certain channel now, right? Singapore, right? He's a diagnosis with that. So the EU, they feel undercut towards that. So come from. So starting like a biggest US don't care, man. No, I don't care who like it or not. Listen, we need all the revenues. Yeah, is it a hard thing? Legalize that. That's fast money, right?
But is it sustainable money? If it's fast money, but then 10 years, 50 years down the road.
Listen, look at the US now, right? The continent now. That is the poorest continent in the Western Hemisphere. And we got to look at them. I understand we are British independence, right? Canada got a problem, right, with the green market, right? That with the herbs rubber. But we got to look at that. We need all the revenues because listen, like starting the first time when I used to go last year, you know in the studio, right? The first thing, my introduction, I say they got racism in FIFA. Yeah? In 26 of the countries, or some of them in the World Cup or FIFA, right? High-rated countries, they're racist for justice, right? So now it is, you leave, no? You got to put something down in place and show what time it is. Yeah? Because it is getting worse, right? Mr. Bush went there. He went there years ago, he told me to go. Mr. Alden, he told me to go too. So
stand up and defend yourself.
Do something. So like I said, revenues will get started because seriously. You understand?
Yeah, man.
Look at before you let me go.
No, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
You see the Alamo, the UK got paid in the Alamo too now.
Yeah, separation.
Which £1 million they got paid. So and that'll start again. So they're showing you it started like I said again, I know the fiduciary or arbiter, the trust now, but still we got to look at alternatives because seriously started. All right, more time on. Cool.
Hey, thanks very much, man. And I appreciate what you're sharing. And as the caller invites us to consider, some would talk about diversifying the economy and the like. Is that, in your mind, a viable way, not only for the sustainable prospect of the revenue source, but how the country will be perceived down the road? Potentially, if any, what negative impact could it have on the resident population, on our young people in particular? Well, do you have a thought and opinion? Well, share with us. We'll pause quickly and take a short break. When we come back, more talk today.
The Lions Club of Grand Cayman will be holding a prostate and colon cancer awareness meeting at the John Gray Memorial United Church Hall in West Bay on Tuesday, February 18th at 7:30 p.m. Free PSA testing will be available along with a presentation by guest speaker Dr. Shillingford. PSA testing will be done by Royal Medical and Wellness Center. For more information on prostate and colon cancer awareness, join the Lions Club of Grand Cayman on Tuesday, February 18th at 7:30 p.m. at the John Gray Memorial United Church Hall in West Bay.
Dominion Life Global Ministries invites you to their first anniversary prophetic convention. Theme, I Must Recover. February 13th through the 16th at the Georgetown Town Hall, featuring Apostle Joseph Jogona, Thursday and Friday, 7 until 9:30, and Sunday, 1 until 3:30, with an elegant Valentine's soiree on Saturday the 15th. If you need more information on the convention or to purchase tickets to the soiree, call 326-0744. The Dominion Life Global Ministries first anniversary convention, February 13th through the 16th at the Georgetown Town Hall.
Red Sky at Night Terrific live music, actors, dancers, comedians, and poets. Over 100 artists and artisans selling art, crafts, jewelry, and accessories, as well as delicious local food. Red Sky at Night at the Hawkwell Cultural Theatre. Saturday, February 29th, 4 p.m. till midnight. Don't miss out. Tickets on sale now at eventpro.ky. A CNCF production. Red Sky at Night, sponsored by Hurley's Media, Pepsi, and Radio Cayman.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. 949-8037. 949-8037 or toll free with the kind compliments of Flow at 1-800-534-882-55. And you can share your thoughts with us as we invite you to contribute. The caller prior and the gentleman just before our news break, he was sharing, what are we doing relative to development planning and housing and the like. Again, it would have been great to have been able to engage him, and I know he's so amenable. Maybe another time. But to those two perspectives, should we be looking at our land usage? Comes in as a timely sort of discussion. So over the last few weeks in particular, a few have shared with me, well, it seems like we're willing to consider, at least in the 7 Mile Beach corridor, for the large condos and developers to not just only doing an iconic building that could be 1,000 feet in the sky, it could be 50 stories, but if other developers not only knocking down seemingly structurally sound, beautiful buildings, but knocking them down in order to build higher rises to make them more profitable so that they can make more money on these properties. But why are we not looking at the land usage for our homeowners? So the family that has what now is zoned as a house lot that can be 3 houses or 50 apartments or 10 apartments. But boy, we can't love this and that. Well, maybe we'll have that chance to discuss that further. But let's go to our phones. Welcome. You're on Talk Today.
Good afternoon, Dwayne, Miss Susan, and to all our listeners. How you doing?
Afternoon, sir. How are you today?
Yes, sir. Well, very busy.
That's good to hear, man.
Yes, building a road here on the creek bluff near the southern edge. I was in this thing. I want to give you some details about the earthquake, what I witnessed.
Mm-hmm.
The same location where I'm standing now. I took a break. I just done spreading some fill. Took a break for lunch, and I was about 40 feet from the southern edge of the bluff Cayman Brack when the earthquake occurred. And instead of it being a severe trembling vibration like how it was on the lowland, it was totally different up here on the bluff. It's where I was located was roughly 120 feet above ground level and 40 feet from the edge.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt myself like swaying from left to right. It reminded me the bluff moved like a super tanker in bad weather.
Wow, like a hummock swing between two cool trees.
It did a roll, and then when it was settling down, I felt like I came up and went back down like on a cushion. That's how the bluff. And maybe myself and 2 other people were here. Maybe we were the only ones that was on the high bluff at that time, the owners of the property that witnessed this on the high of Cayman Brack.
Mm-hmm.
That was really an experience. First in my life, I had witnessed an earthquake tremor. You all in Grand Cayman have felt several of them, but Cayman Brack, most of the time, we never felt them when they happened in Grand Cayman.
Mm.
And quite an interesting thing, just the evening before, I was talking with a group of friends, including my son, and discussing about the possibilities and my concern about the burning volcanoes under the seabed, which is about 40 miles southwest of Grand Cayman. We had a discussion that evening, late that evening, and the next afternoon, here we had an earthquake. That was so amazing. Anyway, that's a bad thing to be having.
If I can,
my
go ahead.
concerns are, Dwayne.
Yes, sir.
It is now recorded that the undersea volcano southwest of Grand Cayman is the hottest burning undersea hydrothermal vents anywhere in the world. They are at a depth of 3 miles deep, roughly 15,000 feet deep. There's like 3 small mountain peaks on the ocean floor that is puffing black smoke. It almost looks like when a tanker or when tires are burning. And my concern, what is generating that? It almost looks like crude oil would be burning underneath the sea floor, producing that kind of looking smoke coming out. They're called black smokers, and they have been researched by international research ships, one of the most advanced from England, been there, and one from Japan. They sent down a submarine with 2 persons on it, named the Auto Sub 6000, and they said it's hot enough around those volcanoes to melt lead, so that would be something around 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit, something similar to that. And they also found an alarming species of giant shrimp, an orange-colored shrimp at that great depth around the outskirts of the hot water, of the boiling water that can melt lead. Imagine the intents of that. So, and after Cayman Brac had the severe shaking from the earthquake, Grand Cayman had 13 or something aftershocks. The earthquake center said southeast of the Cayman Islands. Anyway, this is another thing I want to get out to the public. I didn't hear of any specific location notifying the public of the Cayman Islands as the epicenter of the earthquake. Well, just after it happened, I contacted a passing tanker. I went to the lighthouse, and the tanker gave me I asked the mate if he had known about the earthquake. He said yes. I said, can you give me the details of the latitude and longitude of the epicenter? And he gave it to me. 19.3 north and 78.8 west, which I calculated, put it 56 miles southeast from the southeast tip of Cayman Brac, from the bluff, 56 miles, just about midway between here and Jamaica. It's always said that from west end of Jamaica to east end of Cayman Brac is 120 miles. So that would have put it just about midway between the 2 islands, closer to Cayman Brac. It was closer to Cayman Brac than any other island in the Caribbean. And to correspond the coordinates from the passing ship, also the earthquake center in Miami, give another position, which put it about 5 miles different from what the ship gave, but that was approximately what it would be. 56 miles southeast from the eastern tip of Cayman Brac, southeast tip of the bluff.
Now, if I could ask of you maybe 3 things, again from your information, have you determined how long the earthquake lasted? What was its duration?
Well, I would estimate in my location here, which I was a lot closer to it, being near the eastern, southeast part of the bluff.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually only about 4 miles from the eastern end of the bluff, upper back of the creek on the southern edge. I would say it lasted about 20 to 25 seconds, and then other people said it probably lasted a minute. Other people said, well, 20, 25.
Mm-hmm.
Different time durations.
Right. And then, secondly, have you on the Brac seen any kind of openings? I don't want to use the word seeing holes, but any similar thing like that on any property, roads or otherwise, that you didn't notice prior to the earthquake?
Definitely. I went on a search for that, and I think I was one of the first people that discovered one just west of the public beach on the south coast of Cayman Brac. In the center of the pavement, there was about an 8-inch hole. And I stopped and inspected it, and it was a cavern underneath. It was shelled out about 3 feet by 5 feet. Then I called the Public Works, Mr. Justin, and he got his guys to come and cordon it off and put cones around it. And then they cut out that section of road and got a nice patch back there now.
How deep was it?
Pardon?
How deep was that? You said?
It was probably about 6 feet deep, getting down to the sun. But if you had something like a rod to drive down, you might have went 10 feet or more. I'm not sure.
But what you could see, you estimated to be?
About four on the sides of it, 3-4 feet down to about 5 feet.
Okay.
Because I didn't see it after it was cut out.
Right.
I only used a flashlight in the nighttime. I went back later at night and used a bright light and shine down the side of it.
Fair enough.
That is one, okay? The second one now was at the place called Banksville in front of Mr. Bernstein Banks' yard.
Right.
I inspected that, and that is a small split in the rock, like a small well, and I pushed the stick down, a striker stick, about 9 feet down inside, and I didn't hit bottom, and the force came out of that. Pressure underneath came and back when the earthquake happened. Miss Gloria Banks told me yesterday, said, Raymond, it shot out from the ground. In fact, I can call her name because I think some newscaster did a story on this location in Banksville. That when she looked out from the house, she seen water going about 10 feet in air. Black-looking water, dark-looking water. And there's no debris like sand and rock that spewed over the yard. The force pushed it up, and like it was a suction that sucked it right back down into the hole. It's quite a bizarre occurrence how that one happened.
Yeah.
Because it's about a 3-foot diameter surface above the rock on the flat cliff, and then it's a small split. A split that down into water about 9-10 feet deep, maybe more. Then another one in a subdivision road, it opened up a round hole it took 7 Bico buckets, loader buckets of material to fill it, about a 1-yard bucket on a front end loader. It took 7 buckets of material to fill that one hole. A brand new house is going to start there soon, so that hole had to be filled so they could get trucks and equipment out to the house site. That was the third location. There was another one at West End near Roger Scott's in the vicinity of Economy Electronics. So it was also a blowout hole. And the evidence that I am studying, that a severe pressure came underneath the island and an upward gush of pressure, like an explosion, blew out and blew these holes out. On the one in the pavement, I found small particles of pavement where they had Barbara Green, the road, the new roads in Cayman Brack, and it had shot pieces of that new Barbara Green, new asphalt about 4 inches thick. It had shot it maybe 10 feet away from the hole. So that indicates not vibration, not vibratory cracking or trembling. It's also an upward pressure that was pushing up to blow out wherever the weak spots are. For example, if you got a bad tire, the air is going to blow out on the weakest spot. So pressure underneath Cayman Brack caused these weak spots to blow out. It's actually acting like a blowhole when the earthquake occurred.
All right. Well, Mr. Raymond, I always thank you for not just your observation, but your willingness to share with us. And trust that you'll continue to be vigilant and be safe and share with the requisite authorities as appropriate. I thank you very much. Respectfully appreciate your contribution. And as we near the end of the program, thank everybody for listening. Ask you to be safe, to be cordial, to be courteous, to, think of what we're about to celebrate tomorrow as an all-encompassing love. Don't only look at it as the Greeks talk about eros, but also look at it as agape, and if I may say, again, be mindful that there are some of us who have loved ones, spouses, siblings, very close friends that we have lost a long time ago, but we still miss like it was just ours, or we may have just lost. So if we can, remember them. If we can, console them. At the very least, let's be, very cordial and honest in our engagements. Now, come tomorrow, God's willing. Mr. Art will be here in the morning, and you can be a part of For the Record. God's willing, we'll be here and share with you. Now, I know Susan, and she's a poet. I know Susan, and she's a great, gifted, sort of music connoisseur. So she's probably going to have some great songs for us. But the sad part is, she's going to be on vacation. So she's going to play us some songs. So what we're going to do in celebrating of Susan's, sort of annual leave, she leaves tomorrow. No, just kidding. She's not gonna, she just has a day off. I can see her friends at the back going, what? Susan going away? No, see, she works so hard, she gets a day off. We don't, not all civil servants are enslaved. Some of us actually, no, just kidding. The deputy governor probably hauled me over the rakes. No, I love my civil service and my civil service. They're the most dedicated, competent people. It's not the big bucks where they come to work every day with a smile. They really, really work exceedingly hard to be that world-class civil service, and I'm grateful that we all champion. I say this carefully because I know some of us as contractors, subcontractors, as temporary, we don't appreciate the pride that the long-serving civil servants have. When you see them 10, 15, 20, 35 years and longer, it isn't because they couldn't get a job anywhere else. It's because they had a pride. It isn't because they were being paid big bucks. It's because they have a love of service to the country. And so when we're interacting with the public, if we're not, giving it our best, and if you're being contracted and you see there's a paycheck, may I say, check our spirit. Is it, more than just a paycheck? Yes, sometimes the customer can be insolent, but recognize, we are in a position of authority. Can we be even that much more exceptional in our service? Because it reflects on all of us. Now, maybe that was a bit of a political statement. Maybe it was a bit of poetry in motion. But whatever it is, it's intended to be shared in love. And I stand by. If I can remember what I said, there's no script, just a heart filled of love. Well, hey Susan, whether it be Little Vandross, whether it be some other song, she's going to play something and it's always going to be good. Come back tomorrow. We have something for you. Will you love us to share with you? Until then, be blessed.
Shaken yet standing firm. This is Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.